I mean, wow. Wow. What are we doing?
The one that a lot of people are picking up on is when she is walking over to the bench and she slaps the clipboard out of her coach's hand.
Angel Reese just got hit with instant karma, suspended by the WNBA after a fiery outburst that left fans stunned and her team scrambling. After a dominant 22-point, 15-rebound game, she didn't celebrate. She snapped. Cameras caught her slapping a clipboard straight out of her coach's hands. But of course, that wasn't the only thing she struck. Fans say she went too far. The league says it's conduct detrimental. Now the Chicago Sky's season is hanging by a thread, and the franchise star is suddenly at the center of a meltdown. But is this suspension justified? Or a power play to silence the most explosive name in the WNBA?
That is one of the most disrespectful acts I've ever witnessed by a professional athlete towards their coach, one of their coaches.
Let's just go ahead and call it what it is. A meltdown, an explosion, a clipboard casualty in the war of egos and exhaustion. Angel Reese didn't just make a scene on July 7th, she made a statement. That iconic moment when she strutted to the bench and smacked a clipboard out of her assistant coach's hands, that was less about tactics and more about tension, emotional combustion. The camera angle was brutal. You didn't just see the clipboard fall, you could feel the air being sucked out of the arena. It was live, it was raw, and it instantly broke the internet. Replays looped endlessly. ESPN, Twitter, TikTok, even Instagram meme pages jumped on it like it was the Zapruder film of WNBA drama. And before fans could even finish debating whether it was passion or petulance, the Chicago Sky dropped the hammer. Reese was suspended indefinitely for conduct detrimental to the team. Translation? You crossed the line. A line the league had already drawn months ago when whispers of Reese's attitude began swirling. But this time, this wasn't attitude. This was insubordination, live and in HD. But we go any further first. Like this video if you think the refs are unfair to the Fever, comment if you disagree, and don't forget to subscribe. Sure, she dropped 22 points and grabbed 15 boards, but that's not what people were talking about. The entire season boiled over in one slap of a clipboard, and suddenly, the stat sheet didn't matter. Chicago had a storm on their hands, and Reese was the lightning rod.
Angel Reese had a great game. She had 22 points, 15 rebounds. There were some questionable calls from the referees on both ends of the floor during this game against the Washington Mystics, and they ended up losing by 2 points at the end of the game.
Once hailed as the future of the league, Angel Reese is now playing defense, not on the court, but against a tidal wave of backlash. She was supposed to be the spark that lit a fire under the Chicago Sky. Instead, she's the flame torching the foundation. And this isn't her first brush with controversy. Ask anyone who watched the now infamous Sky vs. Fever clash in June, a high-voltage showdown with Caitlin Clark that turned into a trash-talking, elbow-slinging circus. That night made Reese a trending topic for all the wrong reasons. And somehow, this week has made that look tame. Behind the numbers, the double-doubles, the rebounds, the highlight reels, there's a growing concern that Angel isn't just a star player. She's the only story. And that story is starting to look a lot like a slow-motion implosion. Coaches whisper about her volatility. Fans argue in circles about whether she's just intense or plain disrespectful. And inside the locker room, well, if that clipboard moment is any sign, the vibes are not immaculate. The real kicker? Reese doesn't seem fazed. In post-game interviews, she talks about being tired of the officiating, tired of being disrespected, tired of losing. But where others see fire, some see friction. There's a growing chorus. Media, fans, even former players, saying what nobody wanted to admit. Angel Reese may be too much for this team to handle. At what point does passion become poison?
This behavior can't happen. It can't happen. Look at that. Slap a keyboard out of the coach's hand? They ought to give you 2 to 5 games for that.
And then there's Coach Tyler Marsh, or, as some fans are now calling him, the Invisible Man. Because as Angel Reese detonated mid-timeout, knocking a clipboard out of his assistant's hands, Marsh stood there like he'd just seen a ghost. No timeout, no benching, no confrontation, nothing, just silence. Like a man watching his house burn down from the inside and hoping the flames would get bored and leave. Let's be clear, managing egos in the WNBA is no joke. But this wasn't about ego management. This was a power vacuum playing out in real time. When your star player publicly disrespects your coaching staff and your response is radio silence, that's not coaching, that's surrender, and people noticed. Commentators questioned it, fans roasted it, analysts called it the exact moment the Sky lost the locker room. Tyler Marsh is supposed to be the authority figure. Instead, he's looking like a substitute teacher in a class full of senioritis. You want to know why the Sky are barely scraping a 500 record? It's not just because of missed shots, but because nobody's in charge. When a clipboard goes flying and no one gets benched, suspended at first, or even scolded, the message is clear. The star runs the show. And when that happens, you don't have a team. You have a solo act. And everyone else is just backup dancers waiting to get blamed when the lights go out.
Is Angel Reese tie game 29 seconds to go in frustration, slapping a coach's clipboard. And let's be real, it was a foul. It was a soft foul, but it was a foul. And it was a bad call by Angel Reese late in that game.
And if you guys look at her stat lines here, they actually are pretty insane. 22 and 15, 16 and 17, 24 and 16, 17 and 18, 18 and 17, and 10 points and 19 rebounds. She has really stepped up. Also, her field goal percentage across the board has also made a leap. I think she is closer to 50% in her field goal percentage now.
Here's the irony. Angel Reese is playing some of the best basketball of her life. A walking double-double, putting up 22 and 15 like she's ordering combos at a drive-thru. Her stats are elite, her impact undeniable, and yet none of it matters. Because no matter how many points she scores, the headlines aren't about her performance, they're about her behavior. The drama is outscoring the box score every single time. But here's where it gets messy. The double standard is real. When a male athlete slams a clipboard, passion, fire, leadership. When Angel Reese does it, disrespectful, embarrassing, out of control. And while fans are busy debating whether she crossed a line, few are asking why the line keeps moving depending on who's stepping over it. Her critics say she's reckless. Her supporters say she's being villainized. The truth? It's both. She's walking the razor-thin edge between raw intensity and implosion, and the league is having a very public debate about where the fall begins. And let's not forget, this isn't happening in a vacuum. Reese isn't just a player. She's a brand, a face, a force. That jersey isn't just stitched with her name. It carries expectations, scrutiny, and non-stop social media magnification. She's not allowed to just play. She has to lead, inspire, dominate, and never, ever crack. But she cracked on live TV. And now, the world is deciding whether to crown her a misunderstood icon or a cautionary tale. You'd think a team with this much talent would be pushing for the playoffs. Instead, the Chicago Sky are teetering on the edge of implosion. Every close game ends in heartbreak. Every press conference feels like damage control. And now, with their star suspended and the locker room likely split, the Sky look less like a team and more like a ticking time bomb. The mood isn't just tense, it's toxic. Inside sources whisper about friction between Reese and other players, about veterans growing frustrated, about assistant coaches unsure of how to handle the emotional landmine that is this roster. And what's even scarier, this isn't new. The team has been slowly unraveling for months. Emotional outbursts, disjointed rotations, and a head coach who seems more passive observer than active leader. The clipboard incident? That wasn't a spark. It was the explosion. Now the front office is in panic mode. Do they discipline further? Do they make a statement? Or whisper it? Do they trade Angel Reese while her value's still sky high? Because as good as she is, chaos like this comes with a cost. And right now, the Sky might be wondering if their most valuable player is actually the one doing the most damage.
I surely hope that because it was pre-recorded that they didn't cut out any of the juicy back and forth.
So now we're here. Angel Reese is suspended, the team is fractured, and the season that once had so much promise is dangling by a thread. And the question no one wants to ask, but everyone is asking, is this: have we reached the end of the Angel Reese era in Chicago? Because let's be honest, this feels bigger than a suspension. It feels like the league, the fans, and even the franchise are reevaluating everything. Reese still has legions of fans. People who see her as a symbol of power, fire, and unfiltered truth in a league that often demands perfection and silence. But the WNBA is also a business. And in business, PR nightmares are expensive. If things don't change, if Reese doesn't get back on track, or if the team doesn't start showing signs of cohesion, don't be shocked if trade rumors stop being whispers and become breaking news alerts. Because sometimes, the biggest stars burn the brightest and leave the biggest scorch marks on the way out. Whether Angel Reese finds redemption or relocation next is anyone's guess. But one thing is crystal clear. The Chicago Sky have a problem, and her name is written in bold capital letters on every trending page in sports media right now. Outrow. One clipboard. One moment. One star in the middle of a full-blown firestorm. Will Angel Reese rise from the ashes or burn the whole thing down? This saga is far from over, and the fallout could reshape the entire future of the Chicago Sky. So make sure you're locked in because the next move in the Angel Reese drama, it could shock us all.